Bonsoir everyone, welcome to Chacha Paranormal. It's summer, and after introducing you a few weeks ago to the fairies of Breton folklore, why not explore something a little more aquatic, while staying within the realm of glamour and mystery? Tonight I continue my exploration of these books to talk about mermaids, and about other beings I have never heard of before, the Morgans. So let's all dive into the ocean together. Let's go. For centuries, mermaids have haunted the seas that surround Brittany. They have filled the tales of sailors and the nightmares of the families who waited for them on shore, in wind-beaten harbors. Their stories were whispered in low voices, as if speaking their name too loudly might summon them beyond the waves. Some accounts suggest they came from distant eastern lands. Perhaps maritime trade routes carried more than spices and silk to the Breton coast. Perhaps foreign beliefs blended with ancient Celtic traditions, giving birth to these uniquely Breton sea beings. Because in Brittany, mermaids are not merely creatures of the sea. They possess powers comparable to those of fairies. To anyone who does them a favor, they may grant riches, fine clothing, or endless food. With a single sweep of their tails, they can send shimmering droplets into the air, droplets that fall like golden rain upon the shore, a miracle or a temptation. But one rule remains unbreakable. No one may try to capture a mermaid without consequences. A man from Douarnenez once believed he could defy this warning. On the rocks of the Raz, he spotted a mermaid and tried to seize her. She immediately plunged back into the sea. Almost at once, the sky darkened. A violent wind rose. A storm of unimaginable force broke out. 20 boats were driven onto the shore. A coincidence? Or had the sea just defended one of its own? And that is not the only unsettling detail. Contrary to the majestic image we might imagine, Breton mermaids are often described as small. One captured by a clog-maker in a bay was said to be no taller than an 8-year-old child. Their fragile appearance stands in sharp contrast to their power. It is said that before you ever see them, you hear them. Their song is soft, melodic, hypnotic. As they draw near, your vision blurs, the water reflecting the almost blinding glow of their luminous skin and golden hair. At first, you think it's a mirage, until you realize that something in the water is watching you. Not all of them have a benevolent reputation. In Finistère, one mermaid was particularly feared, Marguerite of the Bad Weather. Her song was a dark omen for sailors. To hear her voice meant the sea would soon claim lives. Near the archipelago of 7 islands, another creature was once said to roam. According to legend, she was not satisfied until she had crushed the bodies of 7 young men. 7. A number that echoes like a sentence in ancient tales. But the most famous of them all remains Dahut. Before she became a mermaid, Dahut was a princess, the daughter of a king, beautiful and fiercely free. She lived in the mythical city of Fées, a magnificent city built upon the sea and protected by massive dikes. A city rich and radiant. According to legend, it was through her corruption that she delivered the city to the ocean. The waters swallowed Fées in a cataclysm. An entire city vanished beneath the waves. To appease divine wrath, her own father cast her into the sea. But she did not die. She was transformed into a mermaid. Perhaps she is the origin of them all. Perhaps she passed on to them that irresistible need to lure men, only to destroy them. Because seduction seems to be their very nature. An 11th century account tells of a schoolboy abducted by one near the river of Tréguier. He was already being dragged beneath the surface when Saint Tudual dove in to save him. Not everyone was so fortunate. Sometimes all it takes is a simple touch, a fingertip against your skin, and you are pulled into the depths. Yet mermaids are not the only beings said to inhabit Britain waters. There are others, lesser known, almost forgotten, creatures without fish tails, and perhaps for that very reason even more disturbing. They are called the Korrigans. They dwell in the sea, but also in ponds and lakes. Their appearance is entirely human. No scales, no tail. And that is precisely what makes them more insidious. They lure men underwater, not toward a violent drowning, but toward palaces of crystal and mother of pearl. Gilded prisons where every pleasure is offered, where time itself seems suspended, but a palace is still a prison. Near Vannes, in the Étang du Duc, one of them is said to dwell. On summer mornings, she can supposedly be seen rising from the water, combing her long green hair in the sunlight, and waving crowns of gladiolus flowers. Tradition claims she was once a princess who, to escape a forced marriage, threw herself into the lake. Was it a willing transformation or a passage into another realm? Some Korrigans are said to have lived among humans, but the longing of their original elements always caught up with them. Near Crozon, an abandoned little girl was adopted by a local lord. As she grew older, her escapes toward the sea became more frequent, until the day she vanished forever. On the island of Ouessant, oral tradition speaks of an entire underwater people. Small men and women ruled by a king whose palace surpassed every earthly wonder. By moonlight they would come to play upon the sand, but at the slightest human glance they vanished. Long described as peaceful, they were said to have been deceived by humans. Since then they hide. Yet they were not without fault. They sometimes abducted young girls for their beauty. Strangely, these girls adapted effortlessly to life beneath the sea. One of them, Mona, the daughter of a fisherman, married the son of the Morgan king. Some Morgan possessed enviable powers, such as the ability to conjure the finest food at will. The Morgan woman resembled fairies, small in stature, long blonde hair, golden and ivory combs, treasures laid out upon great white cloth. Two young girls from Ouessant once received diamonds, pearls, gold and silks from them, but they were given a warning. They must not look at the treasures before reaching home. One resisted. The other gave into temptation, and the treasures turned into a hearse dung. How nice. As if magic always punishes impatience. What truly sets the Morgans apart from most other supernatural beings, however, is their relationship with Christianity. They had their own underwater churches, their own religion, their own bishops, and they earned the Virgin's goodwill after one of them offered to watch over the infant Jesus while his mother went to fetch water from the fountain. Neither entirely malevolent nor entirely benevolent, suspended between two worlds. So what are we to make of all this? Are mermaids and Morgan merely legends shaped by the fear of storm and shipwrecks? Or are they distorted memories of older beliefs, of unexplained encounters along a coastline where the mist blurs certainty? Brittany is a land where the sea swallows cities, where storms rise without warning, where songs can be mistaken for the wind. And what if some sailors truly heard something? Something we now classify as folklore. The oceans still cover most of our planets, and the deep abyss remains largely unexplored to this day. So perhaps on certain summer evenings, even when the sea appears perfectly calm, it is wiser to not venture too close to the shore. And above all, never answer the song. That's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this topic. I'll be back very soon with more French paranormal stories. Until then, take care and I'll be back very soon. Bye.